The 2016 Daytona 500, the 58th running of the event, was a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race held on February 21, 2016, at Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. Contested over 200 laps on the 2.5-mile asphalt superspeedway. It was the first race of the 2016 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series season. Denny Hamlin won the race in a photo finish over Martin Truex Jr. The top five was rounded out by Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick and Carl Edwards. Chase Elliott won the pole for the race and led 3 laps before crashing out early in the race, and finished 37th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch won the Duel races. Unlike Busch, Earnhardt Jr. crashed out with 29 laps to go and finished 36th. Hamlin led a race-high of 95 laps on his way to winning the race. There were 6 caution flag periods for 31 laps and 20 lead changes among 15 different drivers. This was the 27th career victory for Hamlin, first of the season, first at Daytona International Speedway and 5th win at the track for Joe Gibbs Racing. He left Daytona Beach with a 5-point lead over Truex Jr. Toyota left with an 8-point lead over Chevrolet in the manufacturer standings. The Daytona 500 was carried by Fox Sports on the broadcast Fox network for the American television audience. The radio broadcast for the race was carried by the Motor Racing Network and SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Report. Background. Daytona International Speedway is a racetrack in Daytona Beach, Florida, that is one of 6 superspeedways to hold NASCAR races, the others being Auto Club Speedway, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Michigan International Speedway, Pocono Raceway and Talladega Superspeedway. The track's 180-acre infield includes the 29-acre Lake Lloyd, which has hosted powerboat racing. The speedway is owned and operated by International Speedway Corporation. The track was built by NASCAR founder Bill France Sr. to host racing that was being held at the former Daytona Beach Road course and opened with the first Daytona 500 in 1959. The Daytona 500 is regarded as the most important and prestigious race on the NASCAR calendar. Changes. Restrictor plate. For the events of Speed Weeks, the size of the holes in the restrictor plates was reduced from 29/32 of an inch to 57/64 of an inch. Race procedure. Changes were made to the green-white checker procedure for this race and all races in 2016 with an overtime line. Quote. Entry list. The entry list for the Daytona 500 was released on Friday, February 12, at 12:05 p.m. Eastern Time. 44 cars were entered for the race. Following the 2015 Ford EcoBoost 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway, a number of drivers attempted to run for a different team than they did in 2015. Chase Elliott, 2014 NASCAR Xfinity Series champion and son of 1988 Cup Series champion Bill Elliott, took over the No. 24 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet from the retired Jeff Gordon. Practice. First practice. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the fastest in the first practice session with a time of 46.364 seconds and a speed of 194.116 miles per hour. Second practice. Joey Logano was the fastest in the second practice session with a time of 45.934 seconds and a speed of 195.933 miles per hour. Qualifying. Qualifying for the Daytona 500 is different from any other race weekend because the starting lineup for the race, except for the 2 drivers that post the 2 fastest timed laps in the final round of qualifying, isn't set on qualifying day. It sets the lineup for the two dual races the following Thursday. Unlike qualifying at non-restrictor plate races, qualifying at Daytona International Speedway and Talladega Superspeedway consists of 2 rounds of cars being sent out one at a time to make a single timed lap. The fastest 12 advance to the final round to run for the pole position. Chase Elliott scored the pole for the race with a time of 45.845 and a speed of 196.314 miles per hour. After qualifying 7th and being all but guaranteed into the Daytona 500 based on speed, Ryan Blaney said that he wasn't really too nervous going into today. "I knew we had a really fast race car. We just had to do our job and we did it, and we just had to lock ourselves in. I really wasn't feeling any different than I do any other day." Quote. Likewise, Matt DiBenedetto, who was also all but guaranteed in on his speed after qualifying 24th, said that he could sleep well. "Finally, I was really nervous all night. This is just a testament to the hard work from the guys on my team. 200ths of a second. I'm really thankful to be racing in my first Daytona 500. Most importantly, I'm really thankful and blessed to be here." Quote. Martin Truex Jr. was unable to post a time over a roof flap issue. The Stewart-Haas racing cars of Kevin Harvick and Brian Vickers had their times disqualified after their track bars failed inspection. Qualifying results. Practice post-qualifying. Third practice. Michael McDowell was the fastest in the third practice session with a time of 44.961 and a speed of 173 miles per hour. Fourth practice. Brian Scott was the fastest in the fourth practice session with a time of 45.045 and a speed of 199.800 miles per hour. Fifth practice. Jimmie Johnson was the fastest in the fifth practice session with a time of 46.619 and a speed of 193.054 mph. Can-Am Duel. The Can-Am Duels are a pair of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races held in conjunction with the Daytona 500 annually in February at Daytona International Speedway. They consist of 2 races 60 laps and 150 miles in length, which serve as heat races that set the lineup for the Daytona 500. Both races sets the lineup for positions 3-32. The first race sets the lineup for cars that qualified in odd-numbered positions on pole qualifying day. The second race sets the lineup for cars that qualified in even-numbered positions. Positions 33-36 are filled by the 4 drivers that posted the fastest lap in pole qualifying that didn't lock in a position in the duels. Positions 37-40 are set by the 4 cars highest in the 2015 owners' points that didn't lock in a position in the duels and weren't among the cars that posted the 4 fastest timed laps in pole qualifying. Race 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr. put on a clinic leading 43 of 60 laps on his way to scoring his 5th Can-Am Duel race victory. Race 2. Kyle Busch led 35 of 60 laps to score his 3rd career Can-Am Duel win. Starting lineup. Practice post-duel. 6th practice. Jimmie Johnson was the fastest in the 6th practice session with a time of 46.372 seconds and a speed of 194.083 mph. 7th practice. Denny Hamlin was the fastest in the 7th practice session with a time of 45.077 seconds and a speed of 199.658 miles per hour. Final practice. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the fastest in the final practice session with a time of 45.6 655 seconds and a speed of 197.131 miles per hour. Race. First half. Start. Under clear Florida skies, Chase Elliott led the field to the green flag at 1:33 p.m. He and teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. jumped ahead of Joey Logano to control the field. Earnhardt drove underneath teammate Elliott to take the lead on lap 5. He took to blocking the advance of Logano and Denny Hamlin to hold the lead. Kyle Busch dove underneath Earnhardt going into turn 3 to take the lead on lap 19. The first caution of the race flew the same lap for a two-car wreck on the front stretch. Exiting turn 4, Elliott got loose, came down across the nose of Carl Edwards, slid down into the grass and destroyed the front of his car. The race restarted at lap 26. After 5 laps, Hamlin pulled ahead of Kurt Busch and held the lead unopposed. Jimmie Johnson tried to lead the outside lineup towards the front, but it began losing steam and fell back. Eventually, the field jumped to the bottom and ran single file. The second caution of the race flew on lap 57 for a multi-car wreck on the front stretch. Exiting turn 4, Brian Vickers got loose, overcorrected, spun up the track, spun back down the track and came to a rest at the entrance of pit road, trying to avoid hitting Vickers. Edwards got turned into the wall by Trevor Bayne, who was trying to avoid hitting him as well. Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. swapped the lead on pit road. Johnson exited pit road with the lead after taking just right side tires. Second quarter. The race restarted on lap 62. Johnson and Hamlin ran side by side for a number of laps. Eventually, the outside line stalled out and Johnson pulled ahead. It started to regain momentum after Johnson jumped to the top. Kyle Busch drove underneath Johnson in turn 2 to take the lead on lap 79. The third caution of the race flew on lap 92 for a multi-car wreck in turn 2. The wreck involved Matt DiBenedetto and Chris Buescher, who slammed the wall. Second half. Halfway. The race restarted on lap 100. The field started to form into 3 separate lines of racing, but just as quickly as it formed, it disappeared. Debris in turn 3 brought out the fourth caution of the race on lap 119. The debris came from Greg Biffle's car. Hamlin exited pit road with the race lead. Eric Almirola was tagged for an uncontrolled tire and restarted the race from the rear of the field. The race restarted on lap 124. After making headway towards the front, the outside line fizzled out. It reformed and began moving back up towards the front. Denny Hamlin and the first 5 cars hit pit road to kick off a cycle of green flag stops. This handed the lead to Austin Dillon. He pitted the next lap and handed the lead to Brad Keselowski. He pitted the next lap and handed the lead to Annett. He pitted the next lap and the lead cycled to Kenseth. Johnson and Patrick were tagged for their crews being over the wall too soon, and Waltrip was tagged for an uncontrolled tire. All 3 were forced to serve a pass-through penalty. Waltrip was black flagged for not serving the penalty within 3 laps. Fourth quarter. The fifth caution of the race flew with 29 laps to go for a single car wreck in turn 4. Exiting the turn, Earnhardt got loose, turned down the track and slammed the inside wall. The race restarted with 25 laps to go. The sixth caution of the race flew with 18 laps to go for a 2-car spin on the backstretch. Heading towards turn 3, Greg Biffle got into the left rear corner panel of Patrick and sent her spinning through the grass. The race restarted with 12 laps to go. Kenseth remained comfortably in the lead as the outside line continued to lose momentum. Hamlin jumped to the outside line with 1 to go and drafted all the way to his teammate Kenseth. Kenseth came down on Hamlin, got himself loose and fell back to finish 14th. Hamlin and Truex drag raced to the finish line and Hamlin prevailed by 0.01 seconds. the closest in Daytona 500 history. Post-race, Hamlin said in victory lane that this win is the best. I mean, it's just the best. It's the biggest race of my life. The Daytona 500 is. ? As a kid what you? ? This is the pinnacle of our sport and I am just proud to be here. The last thing I wanted to do was wreck off turn 4 with my Toyota teammates and none of us win. We had talked about a plan overnight to just work together and they never seen it executed so flawlessly as what we did today. ? After coming up just short, Truex said he did all I thought I could do. I had the lead. I probably should have run him up a little more. Just lost in the last second. ? Really proud of everybody. Really proud of the teamwork with the JGR guys. We're team players, and we're in it for the long haul with them. Congrats to Denny. He beat me by a couple of feet. ? After an injury kept Kyle Busch out of the previous year's Daytona 500, he said of his third-place finish that it was definitely a lot better to be in the race where I am supposed to be than standing on the sidelines watching across the street. It played out real well. We ran up front most of the day. We were probably the top Gibbs Racing running car most of the day. But you have to lead the last laps and I didn't get a chance to. ? After finishing 6th in his quest to repeat as Daytona 500 champion, Logano said that Harvick got in front of me and we started moving and then the 11. Hamlin saw that and jumped up there and got the push from both of us and then it was heck of a finish. I don't like being behind watching it. I want to be involved with it. Overall it is a great start for our Shell Pennzoil team and we kicked off the season with a bunch of great finishes down here in Daytona and we are looking forward to getting to Atlanta. ? After going from the lead to 14th on the final lap, Kenseth said that he wouldn't trade that position for anybody in the whole field. I didn't really think the outside was going to muster up enough run to get it, to be honest with you. Somehow, Hamlin just got a massive run. Hindsight, I probably should have stayed in front of Martin and tried to race him back to the line. It looked like he was going so fast I could get in front of him and get a little boost and I just couldn't. ? Race results. Race statistics. Race awards. Media. Television. Since 2001, with the exception of 2002, 2004 and 2006. ? The Daytona 500 has been carried by Fox in the United States. The booth crew consisted of longtime NASCAR lap-by-lap announcer Mike Joy, three-time Daytona 500 champion Jeff Gordon, and 1989 race winner Darrell Waltrip. Pit road was manned by Jamie Little, Chris Neville, Vince Welch and Matt Yoakum. Radio. The race was broadcast on radio by the Motor Racing Network. ? Has covered the Daytona 500 since 1970, and simulcast on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. The booth crew consisted of longtime announcer Joe Moore, Jeff Striegel and 1989 Sprint Cup Series champion Rusty Wallace, longtime turn announcer, and prodigy of MRN co-founder Ken Squire. ? Dave Moody was the lead turn announcer. He called the Daytona 500 from atop the Sunoco Tower outside the exit of Turn 2 when the field was racing through Turns 1 and 2. Mike Bagley worked the backstretch for the Daytona 500 from a spotter's stand on the inside of the track. Kyle Rickey called the Daytona 500 when the field was racing through Turns 3 and 4 from the Sunoco Tower outside the exit of Turn 4. On pit road, MRN was manned by lead pit reporter and NASCAR Hall of Fame executive director Winston Kelly. He was joined on pit road by Steve Post and Alex Hayden. Standings after the race.